But we also tested it. So I well, we tested it and that I won't follow that.
Excuse me, at this time, interpretation come forward for the announcements. Interpreters, can you please come forward and make the announcements? We're gonna make announcements for the. Okay. Allá fuimos en la recíproco, fuimos a pagar el económico que no se
Last month, the Chinese demanded 各位家长如果有需要求国语翻译的话，请到后面拿翻译耳机，用完之后请记得归还。谢谢 ，Thank you。We're moving on to the May meeting of CEC 24. At this time, we stand for pledge of allegiance. For one more thirty.
Dobry wieczór. Osoby, które chciałyby korzystać z tłumaczenia na język polski, prosimy o pobranie device'u. Będziemy tłumaczyć na żywo, jeżeli będzie tak proszę. Dziękuję bardzo. Thank you.
Thank you. If we revise the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you, everybody, at this time. Gina, if you do roll call.
Matthew Russia.
Present.
Gina Liberta, present. Joseph McHugh. Excuse. Anna Kowalska. Manisha Jain. Kate Farnhouse. Leah Luna.
Here.
And Brian Augustine.
Present.
So are the candidates here? Is Camilla here? Okay, seeing that candidate is not here tonight, we're moving on to our last meeting. We had a person interview for a position. We're gonna take another vote to see if we want to accept that member in as a member of CEC 24. At this time, we'll do a roll call vote.
Matthew Russia.
Yes.
Gina Liberta. Abstain. Joseph McHugh, excuse. Anna Kowalska. Manisha Jain. Thank you. Kate Barbaus.
Yes.
Leah Ballard.
Abstain.
Brian Augustine.
Yes.
So at this time, it does not pass. Maribel, I have a question for you now. Since that seat has been vacant since June, July, August. At this time, we the chancellor send the trustees.
So the process is that, seats that have been vacant for more than 60 days go to the. There is, a trustee process. There is a trustee process, so once 60 days have passed, and it's vacant, the first step is that the chancellor will order the council to fill the vacancies. If the council does not fill the vacancies, the next step is to send out trustees to vote with the majority of the council.
So that's even over for 300 days. So we don't accept this candidate, so now the next one is trustees.
Correct.
So,
Well, the next point is the chancellor's order first.
okay. So this next order. Okay. Thank you. Okay, this time I have my monthly report. This past month, we met up with, the team from Mosaic pre-K sites. They are getting 3 new sites to their already existing 15 sites. I went over there with, DSF calling my friends easy to review all 18 sites to make sure any repairs that need to be done, everything is up to snuff. There are several issues. Those issues are being corrected as we speak. They were actually done starting the next day. One of the sites I mentioned was on Fresh Pond, where once class is available out of 16 classrooms. So that'll be a discussion you can have the chancellor review on to see why they're opening their board. This upcoming tomorrow, Myself, Superintendent Rivera, and Regina had a call with Deputy Chancellor Christine Tody regarding seeing a pension upon opening up an intense IB program in one of the vacant sites that we have, so we're talking about that. Also, the city comptroller sent out a school survey as they're going to be doing audits. I myself, I sent it out, my reply was 7 pages long, and I sent back about 97 pages of data also regarding issues in our schools. I also signed up to publicly testify in regards to the SCA director workers. Did anybody else send this survey or what? Okay. So it looks like payroll control is gonna be extended for 2 years. Along with that, we're pushing back the class size mandates, which instead of being 2030 to 2031, the state is gonna push it 2033 to 2034. So that's gonna extend that work this. Last week with D24, I worked the issue of cursive writing in the schools. 5 years ago, when Superintendent Chan was the superintendent, the CEC agreed along, we put a request there that cursive writing be taught in all of our schools, from 3rd to 8th grade. Not blaming anybody, we have had quite a few that changed over the years. We've done some superintendents. So I think that discussion, I agreed for the PLT, it was pretty receptive, but I think that discussion was good. That's about all I have at this time to report. And also our Chancellor's Town Hall is coming up June 1st. You go to the website, CEC 24, it is at IS 73 in Master. So we hope to see everybody in attendance for the Chancellor's Town Hall. Thank you.
All right, so, as Lee brings up, the slideshow, let's start it. And so thank you all for coming out tonight. Love seeing so many people coming out to celebrate, and to be here for colleagues and children, their coworkers. And so I'm looking forward to celebrating with you. So Matt was brief with this, and I'm gonna work to be as brief. Probably won't be as good as he was, but you give it a shot. And so I'm gonna start off where he left off, which is the Chancellor's Town Hall. So again, June 1st, at 6 p.m., you arrive at 5:30, you'll be fed. And so our host, IS 73, and the principal have arranged for a substantial food delivery for any of the guests who come and are part of the audience. So we are encouraging as many of our families to come out, bring a friend, you wanna pack the house. And we wanna message to Chancellor Samuels, all the wonderful things that we do in District 24. Last week I had the opportunity to be a part of a meeting with the CEC members, and we were talking through some of the questions that the CEC was interested in posing to the Chancellor. And so if you come on the 1st, you're gonna be in for a treat because we have some good ones. And so with the Chancellor listening, or with people listening, he's down there. Next slide, please. And so April 29th, we hosted cuts and conversation with the superintendent. And so we had almost 200 family members sign on. It was a very engaged conversation, centered in on AI and the use of AI. So we presented our families with some of the guidance that the city has put out. And we were looking for feedback, and it was a spirited conversation, I'll say. You were a part of it, you know what I'm talking about. And so our families were very clear about their feelings, and about some of their real concerns regarding AI. And this was one of the stages of our engagement and our request for feedback. And so some of the big things that have surfaced from our families and from our communities has been the time frame for that feedback. Overwhelmingly, what we're hearing is that it was way too short, the window was too short. the folks felt like they didn't have a real opportunity to really digest and make sense of some of the guidance. But then the conversation then shifted to the whether or not AI has a place in schools. And while it was a little bit of a mixed bag, there was some real strong feelings around the presence of AI in the classroom. And a lot of questions, a lot of fear, a lot of concerns associated with it, which I think are valid. And I'm looking forward to that conversation continuing because as we know, like we are involved in it, right? And so there's AI has a footprint in all of our schools, AI has a footprint in the world in which we all live. And it's our responsibility to make sure that our kids are situated in such a way to navigate that space responsibly and informed. And so we're looking forward to continuing that conversation. Next slide. So at this point, many of you know that that during the administration, day 2 of math testing across the state, there was a pretty significant technical disruption that impacted many of our schools. I see reps from one of our schools, 119, and actually they were, for the most part, did not have to deal with that disruption. But I will say that it hit the majority of our schools, and it was really challenging. So NICET identified that the vendor, NWEA, was responsible for that outage. And it's the second consecutive year that the platform has had some level of disruption. This year is much more significant. NICET reported that 116,000 plus students were able to test without error. But we know, at least in our district, and we know across the city, that the state experienced some real login errors. They caused like a lot of stress for educators, for families, for students. And so the affected schools were allowed to pause testing and eventually administer on the next day. And so, you know, folks really worked through it. It was really difficult. It was difficult for leaders, it was difficult for teachers, and more importantly, it was difficult for kids. And I see some of the kids that are here, so if you were sitting down and taking that test on the 29th, some of you may not have that experience. And so, yeah, I wanted to make sure that we made that and we brought to light exactly what was at the root of that challenge. And obviously, this is not the norm. This is not something that we intentionally are creating space to happen in schools. But obviously, this is something that was pretty widespread. And as I said earlier, it was something that affected the entire state. Next slide. We got some exciting news with D24 news and also thinking about prepping for 2026, 2027. I can't believe I'm saying that already. Next slide. So this past week, DYCD announced new partnerships with schools, new after school partnerships with schools. And so they're expanding their partnerships not only in D24, but across the entire city. And what that means for us is that more schools are going to have access to community-based programs and after school services in the coming year. What it means specifically for D24 is that some schools in our district will begin coordinating with their assigned CEOs to start planning for programming for the upcoming year, and working to build a really strong partnership. Early is going to pay off as the year progresses, so we're looking forward to that. Next slide. And so along with that announcement, came the news that some of our schools with existing partnerships are actually shifting those partnerships and will begin working with a new CEO partner in the coming year. And so among those schools, ES13, and I see some folks with ES13 here. And so their new provider will be Massachusetts Town Hall. PS28, their new provider will also be Massachusetts Town Hall. IS61, their provider will be the Child Center of New York. PS 102, their provider will be the South Asian Youth Action SIA Incorporated. PS 110, their provider will be the Child Center of New York. IS 125, 82nd Street Academics. PS 239, it's the Boys and Girls Club of Metro Queens. PS 305, it's Greater Ridgewood, and PS 330 is Variety Boys and Girls Club of the Queens. So those, I don't know, 6 or 7 schools will have new providers moving into the fall. And one of the things that you should know is like some of our local providers in Massac Town Hall and Greater Ridgewood are also increasing their reach and membership, which is really exciting. All right, so along with news about after-school programming came the beginning of some details about the pre-K expansion in District 24. So you know, and you probably heard the mayor's pre-K expansion efforts in D24. We'll be adding 3 new pre-K sites for the upcoming school year. And the growth reflects the city's continued commitment to expanding early childhood education across families and all communities. What it means for our families is more pre-K and pre-K seats are going to be available in D24, giving some of our families additional options for high quality early childhood education that are closer to home. Some of the enrollment details and registration information are going to be shared as the new sites are finalized. And just so folks know, like a citywide impact, pre-K programs are growing across the entire city as part of the mayor's initiative. And this is something that is happening like as we speak, literally as we speak. And so the work around identifying those sites, making sure that those sites are viable, identifying the number of seats in those sites is something that is moving, it's pretty fluid as it's being finalized. And so we're excited to see exactly what that's going to mean for us. Next slide, please. So the chancellor recently released some of the system-wide priorities for New York City public schools. And so priority 1 continues to be focused on the development of strong literacy through the New York City Reads initiative across the system. Priority 2, for the first time in several years, is a priority that's focused specifically on math and the New York City Solves initiative. And so, as many of you know, District 24 is a year 0 New York City Solves district, which means this coming school year, 26-27 will be the first year of our rollout, and that will begin in our middle school, starting in grades 6, 7, and 8. And so, we're really excited about that. And our teachers actually, this is not on one of the slides that I'll share with you, our teachers across the district are all beginning to receive pretty intensive training that's beginning now and will continue over the next several weeks leading into the summer. So they'll have some of what the foundation needs to be to continue that work. Priority 3 will continue to be safe and inclusive schools. Priority 4, specifically on college and career readiness. Priority 5 is on attendance and chronically present students. Everyday matters, and so there's been a shift in the language from chronically absent students to emphasizing those who are chronically present, identifying what those things are that are causal factors for students to be in school every single day, and finding ways for us to replicate those for all students. And then the additional priority is high quality, inclusive, and accessible learning for students with disabilities. So we see some shifts in the language around the system-wide priorities, which will be used by schools to create their goals and by the district to create our goals. All right, and so that last piece that I just shared kind of lends itself to the CEP and TCEP process, which will begin shortly. So the CEP and the TCP in short is basically schools and the district setting goals for themselves. And at the district level, we're setting goals for the entire district for all 40 of our schools. So moving into the next several weeks, we will begin the process of really unpacking the data, taking a look at student progress and performance from the beginning of the year all the way to the end of the year, accounting for programs and initiatives that we've had in play, accounting for some of the things that we've seen in schools, some of the trends, some of the opportunities that we've identified, feedback that we're receiving from the community, from families, from from principals, from teachers, from students around what's working and what's not. And that will guide the creation of goals for us as a district and then for schools, for individual schools. Part of what schools are held accountable to is ensuring that the vision that they set forth for their children aligns not just with ensuring that kids are growing and developing, but aligns specifically with the goals that the district establishes. And so you see CEP and DCEP, the CEP is for schools, the DCEP, the DE and CEP is the district. And so, there you guys. Next slide, please. D24 Arts Residency update. So we look forward to continuing and expanding arts programming in D24 schools next year. The partnerships play a vital role in providing well-rounded educational experiences for our students. And a total of 8 schools this year with some various arts residencies. And it's been amazing to see pictures of, it's amazing to see kids loading onto buses and going down to Broadway to experience a Broadway show. And one of the things that we continue to do this year, that I started last year when I arrived, because I just arrived and got this arts residency last year as well, is prioritize schools who did not have a funded CDO program for after school activities. And so we wanted to make sure that we were funneling those resources to schools that didn't have the opportunity to engage in some of those after school activities that are really promising and really exciting for kids. There was a Wicked field trip on May 13th. We sent 45 students and family members to see Wicked on Broadway. That was really cool. Some of the pictures were amazing. And so we're looking forward to continuing that moving forward. And I think one of the other pieces is really cool is that some of those arts residencies will also have the local arts program, and so that's also really neat. It is the last slide. All right, so on the horizon, I'm gonna sell it again, Chancellor's Town Hall, June 1st. So my hope, my expectation is that we pack that house, and really we're gonna turn up. So June 1st, 6 p.m., get there at 5:30 for some food before the show. The questions that I know will be asked, because we were going through the questions that were submitted by the public so far. And they're the questions. They're the questions that parents are interested in hearing the answers to. They're questions that this committee is interested in hearing the answers to, and we're looking forward to those responses. We have a civic showcase on June 2nd, and is that 119? At 119. Our We Are Fair was postponed because of scheduling conflict with city parks, and so we're gonna take that and convert it into a local back fair. So we are back there for the second year in a row. Maybe that's just gonna be the new thing for us in 2024. Budgets. It says the budgets are gonna be released the second week in June. I don't know how that made it there. I'm not sure if they will. Hopefully they will. But we're looking forward to budgets being released. There's a lot of trepidation entering the space. The state is getting engaged in really intense conversation around finalizing the budget. And that will impact what that next step is for us. And so we continue to hold out and wait until those budgets get released so that principals can be in planning, so that the district can be in planning for our expenditures in the coming year. We began the process of forecasting vacancies, so those schools that are working for.
I 125 for the civic showcase.
Oh, civic showcase is 125, not 119. I was about to give you the civic showcase. Sorry, thanks, Jose. Jose gave you that eye, he was like, "There's something wrong." So schools have begun forecasting vacancies, and what that means is they're starting to think about what potential vacancies that will exist in the coming year. One of the ways they do that is thinking about folks who are retiring or folks who are leaving the profession and have communicated that. The other thing that they're factoring in is adhering to the class size mandate, and so the budget is also going to be really important as folks start to understand what the implications for the class size law moving into next year will look like. And so It's still being determined, it's still being worked out, and while we wait, that's gonna impact the number of vacancies that schools will anticipate in the coming year. We did host a preliminary hiring hall, and so at PS13, we invited teachers from all around the area, all around the city, actually, it was published all around the city. Interested teachers came out, we had probably over 200 candidates come out, we packed the house. The majority of the schools were present and they were library leads. However, none of those interviews can actually be finalized to actual hires until our principals have budget, so everyone's looking forward to that. And then the last piece I spoke a little bit about, the CEP and the district CEP. So that process is gonna be in full swing starting soon. This is something that we began doing last year in a very different way in our district. And I'll say that some of what our schools produce has been absolutely pretty phenomenal. The targeted lens that they brought to that process and then to their work over the course of the year was really exciting. And we're looking forward to taking that and growing with it. And so that was it for me. I told you I was not going to be as fast as Matt was. But thank you very much again for being here.
Good.
Yeah, about the math test, this is very disturbing, and you said it's not normal, like, it happened last year, it happened again this year, who could have predicted it to be probably taking the test on the computer. My daughter went to Data A here in D24, never had a problem with her math and English cuts. Brooklyn Cat, with the regions, never had a problem with any regions, never had a problem with the SAT or AT exams. You know why? They weren't taken on computer. Tests should be done by hand and graded by computer. They shouldn't take it on computer. Because even without a system-wide failure like this, you're still gonna have a problem with individual students having problem with the device they're in. Whether it's a tablet or laptop, there's gonna be problems. That's the way computers work. There's always some kind of problem. And in this case, we know about it because it affected a large number of students. But I'm sure every year, we're gonna have students, we're gonna get a device that's not gonna work, and that student's gonna be devastated, and we're not gonna hear about it. They're gonna be sitting by themselves, crying their eyes out because of this. These tests should be given on paper like they always were, it always worked. Always gets this, and I'm gonna say adamantly, go back to paper and stop this nonsense.
Similar to what you've been on, even like AI, that topic has come up, and it's a hot topic. I think there's a chance we're trying to work through it, but I'm in favor, I like it. Doesn't it?
I mean, it's come up, so I mean, one of the, what has come up, yeah, coffee was super came up, exactly, not the testing piece, the AI piece is definitely. But what has come up is giving families potentially an option, to have their children test on pen and paper. And I think there's some benefits to it. I think there's some benefits that are also not outside of the education experience. There are also some cost benefits to it that are always a factor. But I think as we work to get that right, I think these are conversations that we need to have. And I think I would say in recent weeks, especially since this happened, we're hearing more and more of families who are pushing for, like, why don't we have an option? And if I'm not mistaken, that's probably one of the questions that we were working through for the chancellor's visit. So if the chancellor's listening, he's not listening. But if there's people listening, don't pay attention to that question. They'll be ready for it.
The question online, let me see if I can figure this out.
Hi, can you hear me? Yeah, the chat is disabled, so we can't really communicate with you, and it's hard to hear.
Okay, thanks for letting us know.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? If not, we'll move on to award. That's why we're reading.
I would like everyone to come give awards, something like this. Okay. So, yeah, sorry.
The Q&A.
I'm fixing the chat.
Good evening, everyone. With your continued love and support, CEC 24 has successfully hosted award ceremony over the past few months. Like we started this January. We had the privilege of honoring students and staff members from various fields who had served our district in many meaningful ways. Families who joined us were also able to gain a closer understanding of the work of CEC 24, what they do, and witness the strong collaboration between CEC 24 and the DOE team. This year we were able to recognize schools we visited throughout the year, along with neighboring schools, and their experience has truly been pleasant and rewarding. Without further delay, I don't want to, keep on talking. We would like to begin tonight's award ceremony. Starting with the individual student nominations first. So, I hope everyone is present and we are not missing anyone. PS 91, Zuhair Obey, is he there? Okay. I understand few of the members will not be here, but I'll still announce the name. Edison Rivera, PS 91. Then we have Kimberly Marquez, IS 93. Rebecca Shaker, IS 93. I hope you are listening, you are watching present. Yes. So yeah. Arabella Sheen, PS IS 119. Then we have Aradhana Jain, PS IS 119. Integrity, academic achievement, and active participation in school clubs and activities and more. I seriously believe when I got this nomination from the principal, I told her, don't give it to her. And she was like, why? And I told her because she was my daughter, and everyone will think that, I told you to give it to her. So then she said, it's not you, it's from the teachers. And so you are not, even if you are not on the board, I will have still nominated. So I complete your thing, like I don't want to be here like a mom now, but yeah, she showcased her exceptional debate skills by earning team awards at Queen's World Championship last time. Congratulations. If she is listening, this is Asia Robinson. She told me this is your Mother's Day gift. And I was like, sorry Radha, I didn't share the conversation earlier because I didn't want it. Anyways, moving ahead. There are two students nominations, IS 61 because they are available. I'm still announcing their names in case they are watching the present. Diana Padilla and Ezra Chopra. So moving on to our team awards. I don't know if they are present, but I would like to invite the members of robotic teams from PSIS 113. There are two teams Yeah, can you just? Okay. And Juliana Montez. Alice Newton. Juliana Stephenson. Ms. Anthony T. Juliana Ray Arroyo. Himashi. Jason Lee. And Olivia Shi.
Man, it's time to move on this requirement. They're both staying.
You want to say something for the team after the picture? Congratulations. Then we have another team which did not make it, but it's for the basketball from PSIA 49. So, in the recognition of outstanding achievement as Queen's basketball champions, Lady Wolves of PSIA 49. And in case if they're listening and if they're going to be present, I just announce their names. Katie Hammer, Michaela, I think I'll just say Michaela Mia Martinez, Olivia Santiago, Tara Mancan, Cassidy Albert, Francie Aguirre, Scarlett Mendoza, Julia Marcus, Lily O'Bristol, Valeria Taramo, Arabella Rodriguez. Congratulations to your team. I hope some of the teams have not come because it's the last month and everyone is busy. And some of the schools are distance also, right? So they cannot come, but I appreciate them. Now we come to our staff awards. This is amazing thing, I liked it. Princess Eleanor, PS 91. She's there. Okay, so I just read about her. Her dedication, compassion, unwavering support made a lasting impact on the students, families, and school community of PS 91. She is a CFIT teacher at PS 91. Her commitment to creating a safe and encouraging environment is deeply valued and appreciated. If you're listening, congratulations to you. Then we have Laura Tucker, Horizon for PS 91. She exemplifies outstanding dedication, compassion through her unwavering commitment to empowering every student to grow, succeed, and feel truly valued. Congratulations. Special, bonding.
You can also come. Yes. All of you. Come. Come, all of you. Oh my goodness. Beautiful people. D24 has
Then we have Ms. Saida Mehdi, Payroll Secretary, IS 93. If you're listening, I'm just announcing. Ms. Mehdi is a dedicated and detail-oriented payroll secretary at IS 93 who consistently demonstrates professionalism, accuracy, and reliability while ensuring efficient payroll and administrative operations. Congratulations. Then we have Jacqueline Vargas, IS 93 again. Ms. Vargas is a dependable and hard-working school aide whose dedication, patience, and support help create a safe, positive, and productive learning environment for all students. Then we have Mr. Seth from PSIS 119. So, Mr. Seth is a senior cook at PSIS 119 who consistently demonstrates professionalism, dedication, and care in service to PSIS 119 community. Through his commitment to provide quality meals, supporting the needs of the school, he helps create an environment where students are nourished, supported, and prepared to succeed. Congratulations. Our last nomination for today, Miss Katsarina Kasia Arzola, PSIS 119. She's a student there. Miss Kasia, a student at PSIS 119, is a valued member of school community whose dedication, professionalism, and commitment consistently enrich the school culture and positively impact both students and staff. Congratulations. Now I would like to invite the host principal because in February we had an award ceremony. We could not give her awards like the nomination awards because we had a school storm. But if you want to say a few words for your school and your nominations, please.
Yes, of course. Okay.
So, first of all, I want to say thank you because there's so many things that we have to help. So many things that we get to have to do in this world, this privilege that I have being a principal. And you stop and prioritize to celebrate one another, celebrate community. I love this part of the CEC, so don't ever take this away. Thank you. In February, I had the honor of honoring one of our centrally funded special education teacher. And in short, she took on the role to help us unlearn how to teach reading and language and how to assess our children. And I have to tell you, we have been able to literally, it's been, I don't know, a miracle because it's been great work, but it's been exceptional the way we unlearn how to teach language to our children that is leading to them becoming skilled readers. So wait till you see that data, and that was Sarah Aurelia. She took it on, and Barani, she took it on and ran with it. We also have our co-principal, my second principal, which is our school secretary, Yolanda, and Janet can tell you, it takes a village, and without Yolanda, the school cannot function. We also had two of our students. One of our students is first year in the school, and they were honored because she was able to join many of our teams and acclimate, and then our other student as well, working with children that are new in our school and making them feel welcome. And you're putting me on the spot, but I remember everybody got the board. And, right? So, but I mean, you made it special, and just thank you, welcome home to all the honorees. I'm just so proud to be part of a district that we know how to be human, we know how to elevate humanity and seek excellence. And I don't know about the other districts, but I know we're the largest district within the largest urban school district in the nation with beautiful people. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And if we have a principal of any of the schools, we invite you, if they're here, Principal Edward Santos. I don't think so, any principal is here. But I would like to invite the coach, if he's here, Mr. Joseph Ricaro. He went, or he always is there? Yeah. You want to say something for your team?
Okay. Very proud of my teams. They are very young. We actually have an almost all sixth grade team this year, and we actually have an all female team.
Yes.
And both, yeah, absolutely. Very, very proud of them. They came in, they started late, and they passed everybody else. And they earned their way into their first tournament, and they earned their way into the States, and they placed really well. And I am very excited for their future, and I can't wait to see what they do next year. So, ladies, congratulations, and let's keep it going next year.
Every time when I start or end with a ceremony, I realize that I never asked Mr. Rivera to say something. So now this is the last ceremony, and I realize if he wants to, because we are ending for this year, we are ending our award ceremony. Of course, this is June. May. So I would like to, if you want to say a few words.
You want to hear from me enough. So I just want to congratulate all of the awardees and all of the schools for supporting those awardees and doing whatever great things they're doing. And our littlest awardee, congratulations for being so perfect. That was a very nice surprise. And so I gotta say, like echoing Principal Soto's comments, I think like this part of the CEC meeting is always really fulfilling. Seeing children and adults in all capacities being celebrated for the things that they do. And oftentimes, like, we get to work and then we get to work. And it's hard to stop and see all the people that are doing all the things that make our buildings move and that make our schools the success that they are. And so, for all of you who received and everyone else who has not been acknowledged yet, there's still time to come. And I don't know if this should be the last one this year. Maybe we can. Maybe not. But congratulations to you all. Thank you all for coming out.
And also, I would like to invite Kate from PSIS 49 if she wants to say something for her team.
Yes.
I just wanted to give a big shout out the basketball team, the Lady Wolves of PSIS 49. City champions, as in Alcatraz and Time City, and they were also the varsity Queens champions. And this year, again, they repeated and they were the Queens champions. So we just wanted to give a big shout out. A huge shout out to Coach Tom and Gina and Coach Maria, the best of the best teachers and deans / coaches, and girls rule the world.
Yes, that's right.
A special thanks to Janet. Like I have been texting her so many times and emailing. So thank you for bearing me. But thank you, Janet, so much. And thank you everyone who have been very supporting. Anna, Alia, Kate, and Gina and Matthew. I have been and Brian. And Julissa is not present here, but yes. Like my entire CEC 2014, like we could not do anything without her. And of course, Maribel, we have been always, approaching her for everything. And I'm very happy that we have so many people here, our duty superintendent. Like we have got a very good team, and I sincerely thanks from bottom of my heart to every parent and every teacher and educator present here. And thank you. We will be looking forward for more such award ceremonies in the coming year. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Quick second, I just wanted to say none of this would be possible without the awards special committee that we have here, but especially Alicia Jane. Thank you so much for all of the work that you did. Please take your flowers. Take your flowers. So thank you. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you everyone for joining.
more to come.
I gotta show my
Thank you, Felicia, and the board secretary for your presentation tonight. Great job. The next item on the agenda is resolution number 198. 198 was tabled at the last meeting. As I'm the author of it, I ran into amendments to it. And we have to revise the amended version tonight. So you're taking, or do you want to read?
Resolution number 198, sponsored by Matthew Crushel, resolution on amending the class size reduction law to prioritize the earliest grade levels. Whereas the New York State Legislature enacted Chapter 556 of the laws of 2022, amending Education Law 211B. What is it? Yeah. Is that right?
No, 200, 199. John has.
Yeah, 191, I clicked on my website, it did.
Yes.
So 199?
Thank you. So the only two that I get are 199, 200, 202. For tonight.
Sorry about that, guys. Resolution number 199 amended, sponsored by Matthew Crushel. Resolution on improving school governance under mayoral control of New York City Public Schools. Whereas the New York State Education Department's review of mayoral control and subsequent public testimony identified ongoing concerns about excessive centralization of authority, limited checks and balances, insufficient independence of the panel for educational policy, also known as PEP, and inadequate community input in New York City public school governance. And whereas public testimony and legislative discussions have called for reforms that strengthen accountability, increase parent and community representation, and give community and citywide education councils, CECs, a more meaningful role in educational policy making. And whereas the statutory authorization for mayoral control of New York City public schools is scheduled to expire on June 30th, 2026, and state and city leaders have expressed support for extending mayoral control together with structural reforms. And whereas the current 24-member PAC is significantly larger than the governing boards of most large school systems in the United States, raising concerns about efficiency and deliberative effectiveness. And whereas the current governance structure limits direct democratic participation by parents in selecting PEP representatives and does not provide sufficient policy-making authority to CCCs despite their statutory role in representing community interests. And whereas the current eligibility rules for student members have resulted in a high vacancy rate, limiting student voice in council work, and therefore be it resolved, Community Education Council CEC 24 urges the New York State Legislature to condition any extension of mayoral control on amendments to Education Law 2590 and SEC that improve representation, accountability, and community participation. Requested reforms for the PAC. Number 1, reduce the number of voting members to 12. Number 2, provide for a more balanced appointment structure with 6 mayoral appointees, including parents of students in specialized programs, and 1 independent chair. 3, establish a democratic citywide election process for 5 parent PEP members using existing family and community empowerment election infrastructure and NYC schools accounts for voting. Number 4, require the PEP to conduct an annual public evaluation of the chancellor. Number 5, extend elected PEP member terms from 1 year to 2 years. Requested reforms for CCECs. 1, grant greater district level flexibility to superintendents in consultation with CCECs can better address local educational needs. 2, authorize shared decision-making by CCECs and district superintendents of district educational goals and major district-wide programmatic changes. Number 3, expand eligibility for non-voting student CEC members to include any high school junior residing in the district who demonstrates civic engagement. 4, amend core rules so councils may operate based on a majority of currently seated members rather than total authorized membership. Be it further resolved, CEC 24 urges FACE to take administrative actions to support these reforms, including convening public forums before major policy changes, strengthening outreach and recruitment for student members, amending Chancellor's Regulation 8655 to include the district CEC president or designee as a voting member of the district leadership team, amending Chancellor's Regulation D200 to eliminate the nominating committee and allow direct democratic elections for parent PEP members, and publishing a public election calendar and using existing CCEC election infrastructure to administer parent PEP elections. Be it further resolved, CEC 24 urges that these reforms take effect upon enactment of the necessary amendments to Education Law 2590, with elections for parent PEP representatives under the new structure to be administered before December 31st, 2026.
So with this amended copy, it took out the issue we had regarding the borough appointees, so that it be included. The highlight of this one is, as the superintendent has said, about extend eligibility to junior high students to 11th grade. The current problem we have is they're only available to seniors in high school. That does not help the senior when they're trying to get to a college or show volunteer efforts. Having an 11th grade to become a college application is big, because you're on government board. So it's also the parents have input, and having the superintendent have more flexibility in the district. So those are the main highlights of the amended version.
I just wanted to say I appreciate the revisions that you made on this. My biggest concern is just reducing the PEP from 24 members to 12. While I understand the desire for efficiency, I've already had a smaller body that unintentionally reduce representation and dissenting voices.
No, the president consists of one member. The PEP consists of members from each borough. When we expand to 24, the parents' voice is lost, because more mayor appointees are put on command and the authority of the board. Reducing it back to 12 gives the parents time to control that. Roll call votes.
Matt?
Yes.
Gina, I'm gonna say this. Gina's not here, Anna? Yes. Brian?
Yes.
Leah?
I'm gonna have to vote no. I would love to, pull out the piece about the reforms for CECs. And I'd be happy to vote yes on that piece if we did want to separate it out.
Okay, so what you'd like to do is hold the vote now. So do the vote. Do the initial vote, go through the first round of votes.
Okay, so. Leah?
Elise, no.
Okay. Nisha? Kate? Yes. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yeses.
So I'd like to produce another vote to the floor to amend the resolution, to remove the section,
Yeah, basically,
the voting part.
Yeah, I guess I'm just focused on the CCEC, so it's most of page 2.
Was like one specific, is there one specific item that you want removed or the whole?
I guess, in my reading, I came to the conclusion that, having mayoral control would allow for more stability, and given there's so many new programs being rolled out, that stability may be necessary for a successful implementation of these new programs, so that's my concern about adjusting the format of the PEP, and I do recognize that I think that's a key part of your resolution, so I don't wanna mutilate it, I guess.
So what the resolution stating, if they extend mayoral control, so the mayor is supporting mayoral control, and just saying that, you know, it's required PEP to do an evaluation of the chancellor, to change from a high school student to an 11th grade student. So that resolution supports mayoral control. We're not asking for, to go back to the state control.
Yeah.
We're asking for mayoral control.
I guess I'm confused about the reducing the number then, is that, I mean, I get it to be more.
Reduce the number is parents. So like right now, we're going to artificial intelligence now. Right now, the parents' voice, we can say whatever we want, but we don't have true say it.
Because the appointee.
Because there's 24 people and only very limited parents' voice. This one almost equal the balance out. The parents are the same voice, and so the mayor and the electeds would be the 6-6. Instead of a, what's the scene that show? 18-6 is 18 politicians, 6 parents. So that would limit it down to 10 more parents. Isn't it? Want to go to the vote or leave it out?
I really grappled with this one. I mean, like, at the end of the day, I feel like I don't know. Can I think on it for a second?
Yeah, we can go back to the next
Yeah, can we do the next one? Thank you.
I was just wondering if you all had an understanding of the PEP and how the PEP works and what the PEP does and who the members are.
I mean, I do intellectually, I guess it's just, I'm still sort of understanding what power they have and what this would do. I don't know exactly what this would do, I guess. And I know that it's just like a recommendation, basically. It's not like we immediately would change that.
Oh, no. It would align with the other CECs that are passing the same resolution.
Right.
And align with them to get the power.
I guess I'm just not.
But the PEP, does everyone know what a PEP actually does?
Yeah, they approve the contracts.
The PEP is the ultimate body.
That's like the only parent board.
Big curriculum.
So the PEP, when we went from Board of Education to Department of Education, all of the school boards were terminated, banished, whatever you want to call it. And so they put CECs in place for each of the districts to have parent voice from each community. But the PEP is who took over the school boards. So instead of 32 individual school boards, there's one school board. Originally the PEP was smaller. Now I know that 5 of those members are elected by the borough presidents in each borough. So that's 5 are appointed by the CEC, 5 are also appointed by the mayor, and then there's and 5 by the borough appointees, by the borough presidents. So each borough president appoints a parent. So that's 10 of them there, and then some of them are appointed by the mayor. And they talk about, they have to approve policy. They approve all of the contracts. They also hear from the public on countless issues. So those are just some of the things that the PEP does.
Yeah, so it's very good.
I guess, sorry, I'm a nerd, so I had notes here. I was just speaking to the kid. I guess my concern is with like the citywide elections, like doing that, I want to ensure representation doesn't become concentrated only on the highest turnout or the most organized communities, and then other people end up being left. Then that's what concerns me about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so we'd like to remove that section of case.
Yeah, because I want to make sure that we're not, like, what if we are, like, okay, now having the elections for the CEC worked out for us, but in past, it might not work out for Queens, right? So that's what concerns me, or for like District 24 reasons.
Okay, so remove that one out of public voting and leave the process the same.
Yeah, that would be,
So we want to another motion?
if you were to do it, yeah, I would.
Yeah. So just focus. Well, let's see, what do you want to say?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so I vote yes if we were to,
You make a
fix
motion?
that section. Oh, yeah, I would just make a motion to, change the section on citywide elections.
Okay, so that will be removed, okay? And do it.
Okay, so roll call again. Matt Crusher?
Yes.
Gina Roberta, yes. Julissa is not here, Anna? Brian?
Yes.
Leah?
Yes.
Manisha? Kate?
Yeah, so amendment one ninety-nine completed. Next up is 200. This is amended version also. This one we just prioritized, just due to the fact that mayoral patrol coming up, the concerns can be raised up to the state education committee.
Resolution number 200 amended, sponsored by Matthew Cashno, resolution calling for universal second grade screening and equitable expansion of gifted and talented programs. Whereas gifted students are recognized under federal and New York State law as students who require educational services beyond the regular school program to realize their full potential, and whereas research in gifted education generally finds that approximately 5 to 15% of students may require advanced academic services, with many researchers using 10% as a practical planning benchmark, and whereas New York City has operated gifted and talented programs for decades, but admissions policies have repeatedly changed amid concerns regarding equity, access, reliability of early identification, and the uneven geographic distribution of programs, and whereas prior admission systems relying on testing at approximately age 4 raise concerns regarding test preparation, participation disparities, and racial and socioeconomic imbalance, while current systems relying on teacher observations or grades may fail to identify highly gifted students whose abilities are not fully reflected in classroom performance, and whereas research indicates that cognitive ability becomes more reliably measurable around second grade, making later universal screening a more accurate and equitable approach than kindergarten-based identification. And whereas universal screening has been shown to increase identification of high-ability students from historically underrepresented groups who may otherwise be missed by teacher or parent referral systems, and whereas New York State regulations require diagnostic screening to identify students who may need specialized educational services, including students who may be gifted and require parent notification and consent before further diagnostic evaluation. And whereas the New York City Department of Education already administers MAP growth within its MTSS framework, creating an existing infrastructure that can be used for universal second grade gifted screening without additional procurement, and whereas the two-phase identification process combining universal academic screening with a standardized minimally verbal cognitive assessment such as the Naglieri nonverbal ability test can support more accurate and equitable identification, including for English language learners, students with disabilities, and students with low-income families. And whereas inclusive enrichment models may benefit many students but do not consistently provide the accelerated pacing, advanced curriculum, and intellectual peer grouping that gifted students often require, and whereas gifted and talented programs are not evenly available across New York City's community school districts, limiting access for students in historically underrepresented communities. Therefore, be it resolved that Community Education Council 24 urges the New York City Department of Education to implement a universal research-based and equitable gifted identification and service model beginning in second grade, including 1. Universal screening. Administer MAP growth in second grade as a universal phase 1 screen for possible giftedness using existing MTSS infrastructure. Number 2, parent notification and consent. Notify parents or guardians of students scoring at or above the 95th percentile of their eligibility for further evaluation and obtain consent before diagnostic testing. Number 3, testing, preparation, and transparency. Provide families with sample questions, explanatory videos, and clear information about the second phase assessment process. Number 4, second phase assessment administers standardized minimally verbal cognitive ability assessment, such as a NAP, to students whose parents or guardians consent. Number 5, grade 3 program entry, establish dedicated gifted and talented programs beginning in grade 3 with sufficient seats to serve the estimated 5 to 15% of students who require advanced academic services. Number 6, geographic equity, review and adjust GNC program locations to improve access for students in districts and communities historically represented in gifted programs. Number 7, accelerated academic pathways, ensure identified gifted students have access to accelerated middle school coursework, including pathways to early completion of Regents level mathematics and science courses. Be it further resolved that CEC 24 urges the DOE to publicly report annually by community school district and citywide the number and percentage of students screened, referred for further evaluation, tested, identified, offered seats, and admitted to gifted and talented programs, desegregated by race, ethnicity, gender, English language learner status, socioeconomic status, and disability status.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
I have a question, you said that you wanted to start, as a CEC members, you want to start this program in second grade. So I have a question, generally the entry point for gifted and talented is kindergarten, right? So if all the seats get filled then how would we have those seats in second grade? Most of the entry point is kindergarten, where we have the seats available for the gifted students. So if you say that we want to start in second grade, those seats are already being filled up.
They can create any classes they want.
Huh?
They can create any classes they want. There's already seats for the students. We're not adding more students. We're just changing things around.
Yeah.
They can create any classes they want at any grade.
No, you're right, but most of the students who are
It's a
coming
different
from...
track. It's a different track. We have 2 tracks.
Also, not all the programs start in kindergarten, so some are starting in, like right now, there's just so much ambiguity. It's like you don't even know that there's a program.
More than before the classes for kindergarten.
So my thing was just what I have experienced, what I'm saying is as a parent, when my daughter started and I was not from district 24, I was from district 28. So as a parent, we started in kindergarten because that was the entry point for us. Right?
The SOP has still that authority.
So there's still seats available because most of the seats get filled up at kindergarten, right? So how do you get more people for kindergarten? We're gonna put more classes? How do you get it? If suppose you have 100 seats in kindergarten, right?
It's like many schools around here, they have 2 programs, they have a different talented and they're called, say, concept.
Regular one, right?
The SLP started that program as well. So you get 4 seats for your SLP.
Through the SAT?
Yeah, that's why like 73 might think, we have 2 programs, we have different talented, then we have the in-house different talented.
Yes.
There's a need for seats, so the SLP said, okay, we'll open the second program.
Okay. So my question was, I don't know whether I'm not understanding you well, but my thing is when we start with a program, suppose there are 100 seats, right? 100 seats for kindergarten students, right, in a school. So in what I've seen in my school, there are 2 gifted and talented classes and 2 regular classes. If those classes get filled up in kindergarten only, and we want to start this in second grade, then how we bring more students who want to come and apply for those seats, because they're already gone.
They wouldn't be gone. Because the kindergarten, 1st grade, and 2nd grade, that would be an in-house program. In 3rd grade, they would open the different and talented program for people who apply. And you still have 2 classes.
But if it is already there are 100 people and we're just 100.
But the 100 people are not fully, it's not considered gifted and talented. That's not gifted and talented.
Okay.
That's a school
So you
program.
want to start, like, it should start from second grade and not
No,
from
Matt, she's in
kindergarten.
a gifted and talented program. This will be a different type. There's already two types. There's one that starts at kindergarten, and Adam started another one that goes in third grade based on recommendation. So this is just, instead of the recommendation, it was just the testing, which is what we had before. And in 119, at one time, there was no gifted and talented program. But we advocated for it back in 2007, and we got the program added. They added classes to have a gifted and talented program. Before that, there was none. So this would be just a different entry method, a different grade level.
Yeah.
I mean, also bringing back the testing for kindergarten like we had to do, but that's what we started.
Like, right now, anyone can go for gifted and talented if you have like good grades, and like, it already.
And we have
exists
good
in
grade
that.
before kindergarten.
Right.
Sorry if I think if I'm hearing you correctly, Manisha, that your question is if there's already, if the school only has space for 4 classes in kindergarten, if in second grade, there's gonna be another class of.
They'd have to have a school that has room.
Then there wouldn't be, and what you were saying, Matt, was that it wouldn't be GNC until second grade, so those classes are at the school.
Yeah.
But then,
They're
to this
internal.
point, some students can only come into a school through the GNC in kindergarten or first grade, you know, if there's a seat available and they.
Well, right now we have programs like the 87 that start in third grade, right? The one that Adam's created. So that could be the one we're talking about. That one becomes a test and we go to that program. It just depends where the seats are available.
Yeah. This actually, the main purpose of this is to open it up to more students. To currently get it, you have to do a nomination or you take a test.
So,
This one's using math.
like,
This one's using math.
currently, if you are like exceptional student at the school, like maybe if you're doing well, then your teachers will already recommend you to take the state based on performance, overall performance, you can
No,
determine.
I don't believe the criteria. It's just a recommendation.
Just to
There's
recommend.
no criteria behind it.
Because I read somewhere that it's like if a teacher sees your overall grade throughout the performance over the year, and if they recommend you can take GNT test and then you can.
No, you don't need to anymore. If a teacher makes a recommendation, they enter different talent. But there's no criteria. So you have to like some kind of rubric in place and say, okay, we're choosing.
It's recommended then
not.
not. It's moderate.
So my concern was not like, because I understand that what you were trying to say, that we want, because kindergarten are like, it's a very, naive age, like, we want to start at second grade because they understand more and they know more, right? It's a very aggressive form of thing if you start in kindergarten, but my concern was only the capacity bit. If you're already, full capacity in kindergarten, then how do you create more room in second grade?
So what this resolution is trying to do is to align somewhat with what the mayor advised, he wants third grade in. Chancellor hasn't said anything yet, but he's usually followed to the mayor's things. So the other choice is no gifted talent. This is a sport of gifted talent program, saying yes, we'll accept the third grade, but you use the math testing as a basis to see who gets in there. So nobody knows to apply for gifted talent. If your testing grade meets it, the schools will send you home a letter saying, here, your child's available. And let everybody know that they're available for that program. Because some people personally don't even know if their children are available for it, or don't even know about it. So it's opening up more interviews and more opportunities for students to take the gifted talent test to be aware of the topic.
And do you know any others could do so that the same kind of resolution be a person?
Schools don't pass it.
No, any CEC.
Yes.
Which one is it?
This is based off 26 did it, 28 did it, 14, I believe, is gonna vote on it, CEC 3, and there's 2 more at the top of my head. What's Alan's?
Alan, 29.
29.
Okay.
That's one at this time.
Okay, I do have something here in that, I'm sorry. So I remember with the resolution, I feel like before creating a new citywide identification structure, I think families deserve a clearer understanding of what the long-term vision for gifted and talented in New York City actually is, because we really don't know right now, which I mentioned a little bit on the call that we were on a couple of days ago. We've seen repeated shifts in admission models and philosophies over the years, and I worry about proposing building another system before there's consistency around what services are ultimately being provided. I'm concerned about relying on another formal testing structure to define children academically at such a young age. Standardized testing can still advantage families with resources. Testing may not capture creativity, twice exceptionality, autism, ADHD, language differences, and uneven development. Some children develop later academically, and once labels are assigned, opportunities can become unevenly distributed. And the resolution itself does acknowledge flaws in early testing systems and teacher referral systems and observation forming systems. So if every identification method has limitations, how do we ensure we are not simply replacing one flawed gatekeeping system with another?
We're moving, like, if we have a kindergarten, like we already have universal kindergarten testing, is it like we are not removing it? Is it more for kindergarten and secondary?
You're saying that.
It's just secondary. So kindergarten would be like, if any student is like, if they cannot get tested in kindergarten?
No, we still agree. This is trying to comply with, the mayor, for the past couple cycles we had, they want different talent and removed from this courses.
Right.
That's accepted publicly. This is an attempt to try to, because if we agree, like, we agree with that third grade now, okay, so it's two.
Have you said that now?
The mayor,
Is that
the mayor said that's.
because we had gifted and talented testing this year also, and it was for kindergarten, so I would.
Because it,
So yes.
there's no, this new mayor said, I want third grade, we want third grade, over the limit.
So is it
He just told me the story that he
Didn't he say that he wants to start at third grade and not the youngest grade?
That's one of the concessions he's coming up with now, because we came out and said, we want to eliminate different talent totally. There's an outlash letter CEC saying, no,
eliminating, I agree, it should not be eliminated. It
So
should
what
not
we
be
do,
eliminated
so what the mayor
because
said was, okay,
every
we'll
student
start at third grade. Instead of eliminating, so this is kind of supporting, yes, we agree with the third grade, don't eliminate.
So there won't be any gifted talent. Kindergarten, first grade, and second grade.
Correct.
That will start in third grade.
Yes.
Based on the testing.
Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for amending this. I think it's much clearer. I appreciate that. My question, I appreciate what Manisha is saying about implementation complications, which obviously it's specific to each school, so we won't know exactly how each school is doing it. I guess ultimately, I completely agree that the current system is not transparent and confusing and not equitable. It's very hard to even understand what program is available where. So I certainly agree with a number of parts of this. I guess my question is, what is the urgency of passing this now as opposed to waiting till we hear more of the chancellor's vision on GMT?
Because it falls under New York State education law, and as the renewal of mayoral controls coming up, it can be viewed by politicians involved in it and see what support that we prepare for.
Okay, so it's to inform that.
There's this resolution to say we want to keep GMT. So if mayoral control is the up there, will you agree to keep different talent in place? If you suggest, anything will move. If it says no, it's just giving parents voice to say we want this.
I'd be aligned to vote yes. I would request removing a couple paragraphs, just to keep it really focused on the specific, testing equity, focus that would be my request.
Which ones?
Paragraph 1, 2, 5, and 10.
Well, whereas, paragraph 1, first page.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that states almost the same as the IEP. That's what that is stated.
Paragraph 1?
It's the same as the IEP is stated. That's why federal law is measured, because a lot of educators consider gifted and talented an IEP. Because you put the regular child in a classroom, they shut down. They're not challenged enough. So that's almost things like IEP.
I guess, to me, that, I mean, that's, I don't know, are we discussing like, what's the word? Students who are like inordinately gifted, which is one set of students, a very small segment, and then students that, you know, require accelerated learning, those are, I'd say, slightly different. I don't know, is there a federal law or state law that we're specifically referring to? I guess I felt like if the point is to.
Well, the New York State law would be under New York State education law. That's different towns fall under New York State education law.
Okay, well, I guess my request would be to remove it and just start with the third paragraph, but if it's too strong, then.
You want one, 2, and 5?
Yeah. I guess you could leave 5 if you want. I was curious what research you were referring to there, so I didn't know what that was.
Okay. So 1, 2, and 5?
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to take a vote with an amendment to read 1, 2, and 5. Right?
Can I make a motion to remove 1, 2, and 5, and we'll take a vote on resolution 200, my question?
Yes.
Gina Roberta, I'm gonna vote on this one. Jalissa is not here. Anna? Brian?
Yes.
It's, vote yes around the resolution, removing section 1, 2, and 5. Aaliyah?
Yeah.
Manisha?
I mean, I know that I'm an advocate for community myself, but I want to read more before this meeting. So I would like to, so I will not say.
Yeah, you want to do it, I'll remove the whole thing. Because we're not trying to get it, time for very overflow.
So what do you mean?
I'll remove the resolution. There's no sense working on it because
Right.
mayoral control's coming up now.
Yeah.
So if we delay it.
And when is it, like, when you think it is kind of like, is that a date?
June 30th.
When is it?
June 30th. June 30th.
So can we also do it in a special committee if you want? Right?
No, I think that's public.
You have to do it in.
Have to do it public.
Well, it'd be a special meeting.
We can.
You do a special meeting.
Yeah, that's what I said, special meeting. If we want to do it. I don't want to say no for it, but I want to do more.
You know, let's just do the whole vote and see where it goes.
So for me, right now, if I would like to write, abstain. Yeah.
Okay.
All the same too, because I don't want to say no, but like, see, the biggest we could, I mean, I would like to have a meeting and probably discuss it.
So I wonder, is this something that maybe at the end of this meeting, we could schedule a meeting like a public meeting in June to discuss further? So in that way we would still meet that June 30th deadline and have the opportunity to discuss it further?
You have to do it probably next week because this has to get all the way to Oldham. So like if this passes, I'm gonna meet with John Liu.
Who?
John Liu?
Who's that friend?
John Liu is the state senator who controls all of education in New York State. So I passed this at the fall meeting with him, say CEC 24 supports this, when you support that. So like I said, we can talk about discussions over this meeting.
Okay.
And that's up 202.
Resolution number 202, sponsored by Gina Roberta, co-sponsored by Jalissa McHugh and Manisha Jain. Resolution recognizing Mental Health Awareness Month and promoting parent awareness, student protections, and bullying prevention in District 24. Whereas the month of May is recognized as Mental Health Awareness Month, a time dedicated to raising awareness, reducing stigma, and promoting access to mental health supports for children and families. And whereas community 24 acknowledges and appreciates the ongoing efforts of the New York City Department of Education and District 24 leadership to support student mental health through initiatives such as Respect for All, social emotional learning, and increased access to school-based supports. And whereas student mental health is foundational to academic success, attendance, and overall well-being, and is deeply impacted by school climate and peer interactions. And whereas bullying, including physical, verbal, social, and cyberbullying, continues to affect a significant number of students, and with reported incidents increasing in recent years and many more ongoing unreported. And whereas cyberbullying presents unique and evolving challenges often occurring outside of school hours but significantly impacting students' ability to feel safe and supported in school environments. And whereas students with disabilities, including those with individualized education programs, IEPs, as well as LGBTQ+ students and other historically marginalized groups are disproportionately impacted by bullying and may require additional protection, supports, and advocacy. And whereas families are essential partners in identifying bullying, with supporting students' mental health, and working collaboratively with schools, yet often need clear, more accessible information on how to navigate systems and access resources. And whereas District 24 serves a large, diverse community of students and families, making culturally responsive communication and multilingual access to information essential, and therefore being resolved that Community Education Council 24 recognizes Mental Health Awareness Month as an opportunity to reaffirm its commitment to safe, inclusive, and supportive school environments for all students, and be it further resolved that CEC 24 expresses solidarity with students, parents, and caregivers impacted by bullying and mental health challenges, and affirms the importance of partnership between families, schools, and district leadership. And be it further resolved that CEC 24 supports and encourages the continued implementation and strengthening of existing DOE initiatives, including Respect for All, while advocating for increased clarity, accessibility, and consistency in how these supports are communicated to families. And be it further resolved that CEC 24 calls for the expansion of parent-focused workshops and trainings, including understanding bullying and mental health warning signs, navigating the reporting process and follow-up expectations, cyberbullying awareness, including practical tools for monitoring digital safety and setting boundaries at home, strategies for supporting children's emotional well-being and resilience. Be it further resolved that CEC 24 encourages schools to provide clear, visible points of contact for bullying and mental health concerns, including Respect for All liaisons, counselors, and social workers. And be it further resolved that CEC 24 advocates for continued attention to equitable access to mental health support across District 24, ensuring that all students, including those with disabilities and LGBTQ+ students, receive appropriate, affirming, and responsive care. And be it further resolved that CEC 24 calls for ongoing collaboration with families to ensure that policies and practices reflect the lived experiences and needs of the community. And be it further resolved that CEC 24 encourages continued efforts to ensure timely access to counseling and intervention services so students have safe spaces to express concerns or seek guidance and build trust in school-based support systems before situations escalate further. And be it finally resolved that this resolution be shared with the Chancellor of the New York City Department of Education, the District 24 Superintendent, school leadership teams, and local elected officials. I've also added an appendix for parents with resources and things that they can look at. So basically, I decided to put forward this resolution because May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's very important to me as somebody who was bullied a lot as a child, and with a child on the spectrum, and also because I have met a lot of parents this year who are having trouble with their children, with bullying, cyberbullying especially. Some of us are sitting here at this table, and it's just something that it's heartbreaking. A lot of parents don't know who to go to, even though the resources are there. You can go on the daily website. It talks about Respect for All, but at the end of the day, you guys know we don't get any answers. So this is more solidarity than anything, and hopefully so parents know that we are in their corner and we can do more to help them, and hopefully have these workshops and these resources available for them.
Just one question I have is, parents of students IEPs have additional rights to something in appendix. What special rights do they have under the IEP? How do you rate bullying in IEP? Yes, because I spoke to told people, one was the Queen's head of this division, Queen's Boulevard, and they couldn't figure out how you were bullying in IEP.
So I guess what I'm trying to see is we want to try to create a more inclusive environment. Like when I see there are things that can be added, like additional rights and accommodations. Like if a child is having, a meltdown, we can provide sometimes more sensory really trying to come out of the classroom for a little bit. So I guess we can write bullying on the IEP, but we can add extra support to the students who will have IEPs so that they don't have to go and be in that situation.
But how do you write bullying?
Well, you would, I just said that. I said we didn't write bullying.
Yeah, we're advising parents instead of an IEP meeting, if bullying impacts their child's ability. But they can't build anything in the IEP recording.
Well, no, but.
I was looking at the parents, that information, say, oh, it says here, go for an IEP. We go for an IEP, and the counselor tells them, I can't write anything in an IEP regarding bullying. They're not confused.
I mean, we can take out the bullying aspect of it, but at least we can provide, let's talk about supports, there's supports that can be put in place for children who are being bullied. Like, if my child is in an ICT class, for example, and he has a meltdown, and, that he's not taken out, that he's not going to do sensory room, in fact, giving an extra accommodation or time on the test, that's gonna be,
Yeah, but it's not directed to bullying. That's what I'm saying, that can be written to an IEP. Extra testing time, no limits, 4 hours, you're gonna take a break, go home. Yes, but when you mention bullying into an IEP, if you go there, my child's being bullied, I want something done in that IEP. They can't do it.
No, yeah, I mean, I can take out the bullying aspect, but the main portion of it is the support for students, yeah.
Yeah, it's an IEP, but that's what an IEP is.
Yeah, but a lot of parents don't know that. See, like, a lot of parents don't know that they can write that in. They can write, I can, accommodate my child by giving them more time in class. Accommodate my child by putting them, in a 504 accommodation, I can add.
Agreed, 100%. But so when somebody disagrees and they say, oh, my child's being bullied, I'm going to an IEP. And you're going to tell them, an IEP doesn't consist, doesn't involve bullying.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying requesting an IEP meeting, if bullying impacts your child, because there's a lot of things that goes into bullying. It's a gray area. It's not like a word.
You don't understand. I would just think like the specific bullying or attached to an IEP. Yeah.
What's the definition of bullying? What's the definition of liability?
She just wants to say not bullying, but.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, no. Go ahead, Brad.
No. Well, this is a great idea, I'm just asking, how do we define bullying? What's bullying?
That's a very good question. I mean, bullying, I'm not the best dictionary, but I can tell you bullying in my, the way I understand it is if a child is being bullied, it's something that's impacting their mental health, it's impacting their ability to learn, it's impacting their ability to be a person at home, outside of the school. So, and if it's happening in the school, it's affecting them everywhere, universally, that's what we're bullying.
It's important to write what the parameters are to that, because again, perception is everything. As a child, I may feel I'm being bullied by another child, and the other child doesn't feel that they're bullying me.
Well,
So,
I have an answer to that. I actually do have an answer because, so just so you guys know, I have a bachelor's degree in communication disorders, and I work with a psychiatrist. This is what I do day in, day out. So my thing on perception is very vague because only because you think you're not hurting someone's feelings doesn't mean their feelings are not hurt. So a child can very well say, my feelings were hurt today, and they should be validated for being hurt. If they feel hurt, their feelings should be validated. Whether or not it means it is bullying or not, that's up to the counselor, the psychiatrist, the psychologist, the teachers, everybody else that's involved. But if a child comes home and says, I was hurt today in school, they were hurt today in school. That's it. And that needs to be validated for their children.
Well, yes, you can validate it, but the school can enforce it because you defined it. Without defining what bullying is, you can't enforce it. You have to say, listen, your child says they're being bullied, and the definition of bullying, it falls within that definition of bullying is bullying. If that definition is not there, then you're in this gray area. Well, okay, they're saying they're bullying.
respect that. And then who moves on to the data of the bullying? Bullying should be reported, or these events are the way to be. Who's gonna move on to the data? How many bullying incidents you have in the school year?
Yeah. I mean, there is data that supports that, but there is definitely data that in District 24, I have pulled out that we had more incidents of bullying, and cyberbullying is a big one. That has been happening, but definitely in New York City, there's been a lot of bullying. I mean, you turned on the television the other day, a girl was beat to the ground because she didn't give her phone number to a boy in her class. They were 14 years old. Like, that's intense for 14-year-olds, right? They're not learning, that's another thing, sure, we should make bullying clear, but they're not learning what bullying really is, because they're being allowed to do whatever at this point. You know, they're not defining it. You're right about that, Brian. But can I ask you a question? Yeah. Because we hear a lot in our school that the word bullying is overused. So I guess my question would be, in regards to this, whether or not it rises to the definition of bullying is ultimately determined by the investigation. Is that
a true statement?
That's what I'm asking. Would you say that's fair to say? Like, because I guess my support of this is because I feel that the process for the bullying investigations itself is what needs more clarity, more transparency. The OSIS report is something every parent may ask for, correct?
Or,
yeah. Oh my gosh, the acronym. It's one of the acronyms. The acronym.
I knew what you were talking about.
Sorry, ORS report, correct? But that is something every parent has the right to ask for, correct?
Correct.
So that's one of those little intricate details as the mother of an 8th grader, 6th grader, and a 3rd grader that I've now learned, but a mom of a very young child may not know. But I think that's important because in my opinion, that's how you're able to see in black and white what was actually done. I don't question the anonymity of those that were, I agree with that. But my question is the process and how many people were asked, you know, in what situation were they asked. To be honest, my children were told they may not speak with anyone from the school without me being contacted first. Because I want my children to call me before they meet with the counselor, anyone at school. That's our family's personal decision, that's based on past experience. And so I guess my question is more, many people think their child has been bullied, but whether or not that rises to the school's definition of bullying is one thing. In addition, the information we then get back, are we satisfied? Do you know what I'm saying? And parents just don't know what they are entitled to unless you're a parent leader. I know about the acronym I just screwed up.
Well, you don't know about it, you reach out to somebody else.
That's my point, but I guarantee if you ask,
The average person doesn't know.
85% of parents will not know what that is. And I only knew because I was frustrated and I followed up and I asked, what is that? But that's my point as well. To me, the transparency and the process. Parents do not know what the process is. Oh, we're handling it. That's not what it is.
I mean, I'll say that, I will say that the term bullying,
Yes.
there are instances where it's used,
100%.
to qualify, an incident or a conflict that occurs. And I've experienced it being used in that way, whether to the extent that it's being overused. I mean, it could be I do know that it happens, right? And to the point that families need support and education, understanding not just like the full definition of the term, what constitutes and what doesn't constitute an actual incident of bullying, or it's not an incident actually, which is helpful to understand like the definition, right? And so, yeah, I think more needs to be done there. To the question of like, what is bullying? And Brian, I thought that was a great question that was asked. That does need to be, not just, it's norm, but it needs to be shared, and it needs to be a shared definition so that folks understand that. And along with it, that they understand what's a family's recourse, right? And so what are our options? What are the resources available to us? How do we spot? How do we not blow something up that, no, this is an argument, right? You had an argument with someone sitting next to you. And so, yeah, to that extent, I believe like more education needs to be provided and insisted upon very early on in the process.
Thank you.
I'm going to make a motion and put this towards the resolution committee we get more defined structures in there. You know, almost like a handbook. It could be 5 pages long if it needs to be, but at least kind of a true document of what, you know, it'll take a little bit of work.
Yeah, like if we could add in, because I like how you do it.
I would add the procedures of what's available to
But like,
them.
I'm sorry, I apologize, I didn't say this before, but that's not a video stuff. No, yeah, I didn't know about it. But that's what I'm saying, you have a young child and you haven't been through it, and you want that like a white piece of paper, so you know. And I learned about the market paper stamp, I believe, am I saying that right?
Yeah.
On a call with him, that's where I learned about this, and he was like, people are allowed to have this, and I'm like, what, he's the number one person, if this thing is saying, well, you know what I'm saying, like, right, but I just remember thinking, this is the person in charge of this entire world, he's telling us we should have it, and I've never heard of it.
Yeah. So I think the motion is send it back to the resolution committee, we have more discussion, just tighten up the better control, it's not like trying to steer what's available to you.
No, I love it.
All of you guys.
And I'm just, I'm just completely right.
Are you saying that we, not all?
Do we have a resolution?
We were supposed to create no waiver.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's why you have amendments, everybody's saying, you know,
I mean,
it could be something for a check-in, for a summer check-in. You know, but I just said, yours, I don't know, I don't know about this.
yeah,
You know, to this, but that's what people need to know about, you don't know what yours is, what's the insert for?
Because you get an email, and this is what we did, and it's not the full documentation.
Yeah.
Sorry, so I'm hearing we're gonna table it and then expand the resources section, okay. The one piece I also wanted to add, from the chancellor's brainstorming conversation was, what came up a couple times was around school communication to parents after a bullying incident or a safety issue. And, you know, in all the schools I've been in, I see the posters, the respect for all posters. This is the liaison, but I actually don't know what that means, like, except for the poster, like, I see the poster.
Yeah.
But, so I wonder if we could integrate that into this as well, just basically demanding more transparency and full communication immediately to parents as soon as these issues are surfaced.
So I don't know if you guys remember, but I did propose a resolution like 2 months ago on respect for all and kind of improvement, but I would love to combine both because it has a lot of information on respect for all. We actually didn't even bring it to the table. Again, don't know what happened, but I would love to put them both together because I feel like it answers all the questions. Because the first resolution really focused on respect for all and all that, and this resolution is more of like, you know, for me, mental health awareness month, let's do this thing because it's really important and it's really something that's going on right now. So we do something together that I think that's good.
No, well, no, we're gonna work, I haven't thought on something, but we discussed, like, not.
Yeah, and let's get a resolution for these together.
All right.
You can't do what you can't, it's
All right.
not, you don't have the community to do it, so.
Yep.
Okay.
Does it need a roll call?
Yeah, the roll call, motion to, table and expand and add information on the law. Matt Crusher?
Yes.
Lily Bird, yeah. Neil, Phyllis, excuse, Adam? Brian?
Yes.
Aaliyah?
Yeah.
Anisha? Kate? Yes. Oh, yes.
Anybody from the audience have a question?
I tried, I
Motion to adjourn?
Do we wanna discuss the gifted and talented one further?
Sure. I heard.
Well, can we still vote on it? And then, sorry, I'm
Yes.
just different technicality. Like if we discuss it further in the next part of the meeting and decide to vote on it.
Is this meeting?
I'm sorry, I mean like in the business meeting?
In the business meeting, but we can't vote on it.
So that's why I'm saying, do we wanna take another minute and discuss it further?
Yeah, what is she? You have any motion to bring it up and go through?
He just asked if anyone has questions, whether we should formally,
The Q&A then.
I think people might be not so clear on the Q&A. Should we just clearly say Is this public comment moment? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, Q&A.
Okay. So anyone online, if you have any public comment, this would be the time. Is there anyone in here in the room that would like to make public comment?
Come on, Mary, don't answer the question on me. You got one?
She gotta ask you this because it's your time.
I guess I will just, sorry, not to be like the reader of the comments, but, so there was an anonymous person that said, I support this resolution, and this was regarding for the gifted and talented, as it is important that we support high achieving students in all our schools. And then, Baville said, does the term expansion does the term expansion gifted program mean that every school will be offering this? That would be a welcome change. So I guess I'll just read those out, just to make sure that they're here in lieu of public comment, I guess.
Doesn't want to.
Yep.
So you want to talk about that one again?
I guess I was just hearing some questions, so I thought maybe since we had a little bit of time, we could talk through them and look at us. I know. But you tell me,
That's a public comment, but as far as expanding to every school in New York City, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's not gonna happen, they want to eliminate it, so they're not gonna expand to every school.
Well, yeah, and I replied that we were asking the chancellor at the town hall, we're gonna ask a follow-up question about his vision for GNP.
Yeah. The other one was just somebody supporting.
Yeah.
She mentioned about opening discussion again, just what do you want to discuss?
Sorry, so Manisha, not to put you on the spot, but I was hearing that you had some questions about the resolution, so I thought if perhaps we could take some time, the gifted and talented one.
Yeah, I just wanted to be clear, like the one which I mentioned, I wanted to be clear about the way I conclude, like if I say anything about it. I'm an advocate of GNP too. I want, like, any resource which should be available to the student should be available. But the thing is, only I just want to read more about it before passing any resolution, that's it.
Yes, sure.
I don't have any question, that's the thing.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure we fully.
I don't want to give away my age here, but when I was coming through junior high school, before gifted and talented, there was a program called Special Progress. And I started in 7th grade, and what that did was enabled me to skip the 9th grade. I went from 7th to 8th to 10th grade in high school. So I entered college when I was 16 years old. I was a really young kid because I was born late in the year, so they were looking at me like, what are you doing here? But I say this to just say before, the accelerated programs have been around for a long period of time. We were isolated. There were 2 classes in my junior high school that were in the special progress program. And they fed us the information and we skipped a grade and it worked. Yeah, so it does work.
Skipping a grade, that's it.
Yeah, many shelters have all the subjects because if we don't have a special meeting, we have a resolution meeting, redo the resolution publicly, then call a special meeting for a reading of the resolution. So we have so in June, you'd have 4 meetings altogether. You have your town hall, resolution meeting, speaking, voting on the resolution, C for E.
Is it possible we can not limit that to
Because this has to be in touch with politicians by June, before waiting for like June 15th. Because June 30th is when the payroll control vote takes place. Because you have to do any amendments you want to make to it,
Like, if we want to public discussion right now, we have to do it public. So you have to call a special meeting for that, or do it at the June first meeting. But then,
So how much time do you have like to postpone it, like you write the timing and after
you
the?
figure,
Yeah, big deal.
you figure 6:30 to 7:30 is the meeting. 7:30 to 8, people want to talk to every chancellor, get some information, make contacts. So 8 o'clock to 8:10, you start the meeting, and go from there.
How many resolutions have you got to?
So I guess I'm gonna suggest, what if we table it now, because there's enough questions?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, let's just.
We have a discussion at our next, the next portion of this meeting, and then if we feel ready to bring it to a vote on June first, we could do that. We could vote on it pretty quickly if we want.
Yeah.
And then,
But as long as we can't do it in the second part of the meeting, our meeting is closed.
Understood.
It's closed to the public, so we can't discuss it.
oh, we can't.
What about if it is?
Because they have input, the public has to have input when you're doing the resolution. Once it's published, once you publish a resolution publicly, everything has to be in public with, they're able to write it.
Wait, Maribel, I thought you were saying that we had to have the discussion about resolutions at the calendar meet, the business meeting.
Business meeting. So
So he's saying that we can't talk about resolutions at the business meeting.
Because you're still at public input.
So the first step is to bring it to your business meeting to discuss with your council members, see what they're comfortable with, not comfortable with, make those edits or, you know, whatever may need to be done. And then at the following calendar meeting, you're presenting it to your public, and then you're asking them for public comment before you do your vote.
So we could do our sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just saying, why don't we focus on the next part of the meeting, getting the resolution committee together, and we can meet, and like, we have a special meeting, right? We need to discuss.
We could, and I'm also just saying, if this is a time-sensitive one, we could discuss it further tonight, and then vote on it June first. If we're ready. Okay.
Yeah, so what do you think?
We just,
Motion to adjourn?
yes.
There we go. Motion.
All right, thank you.
So, 10 minutes.
Yeah, take 15 minutes. There's nothing doing stuff.
15 minutes, guys.
And do we leave the video going for the next year?
Public participation.
We can do it right now.
Hey, thank you, everybody. Okay, I'll just leave it. Yeah, I guess I was just double checking. Thank you.